tolbe dahata betilin alale mbali je kan mbali muy kan wotonko tolbe dahata le Mengbe Kering alingantilin yulula nyununa damunela kambe dahan Mengbe Kering yo gafanyine nyama mbaliko ninyine belori jaliban na doya nyarbe dahata betilin alale mbali je kan mbali muy kan wotonko tolbe dahata le Mengbe Kering alingantilin yulula nyununa damunela kambe dahandi yo mbalikoma jaliban na doya nyawonya mba
Yona Forex Bureau. Badi mori Yona Forex Bureau mi yalon ko felaliye seda kunda bambo walla mu dulati dami yalon ko kodi kiyo anin kodi falingo nyinu mu nyonta onde. Yona Forex Bureau itorbaliye bambole ando fele ye kunda baso dale lat bakote mi yalon ko wolam Purple House ti. Mbadi mori atol mi yalon ko albe banko e bantala. Na lafta kodo kila nyinkamala alla mole ay tariya andaliye minki ye wosoto tariya nyama alfero ke aliyakini Yona Forex Bureau la atul mini yalon ko fanal be Gambia na lafta kodol de fali da kabri euro lomba fo pound lomba wala fo dollar ni nyin kodi dolu Yona Forex lon dolate mini yalon ko e kadadi madi mi yalon ko ase kontane ando ni nyin kodi dolu fanam be bulu e lafta ke fali ni dala sola wala badi won kamune bato al nga fero ke nganna kodol kini Yona Forex Bureau la anin nganna falindirol kini Yona Forex Bureau la dami yalon ko mbe bane hoda male sotola wakamala na lafta kuma ko sotola nyinol beto ali kumandi da telephone to 9000392683215173389998055526 badi ngolu Yona Forex Bureau wolle nata kan dahandi kodi kiyola anin kodi fali wala fannala walla Yona Forex Bureau ala baraka jarama. Bengalon ne nyin jamal laba motolu ida koleyata bakele andun ila kol mandia nyine ya sabu niye moto san da kole ngola inyanta fita kendo le sotola o dalilo le ya sabu ATC garage inatale Gambia banko kan e bale dabin wala mu farato bojan kundati nyin ATC garage e turmu garas lete me yalon ko e kamuntala ko motor la lotanolo e kamotolu tale ke kisi ke la sasalu long andi ye joran kendo le sotane software mini yalon ko wolle ka woke ka fa be diagnostic eto la joran be ka bonan jamanele ande manna da wala isela AC refiliye nyin kamala ni dunda moto kono moto be setara sumoyare andi kela do kol be ken minna wala mo jaman la joran wolti ning alla motolu chabolu balanta sakonye motolu mini yalon ko wolla jaman laba motolu ti e ka wo fanan chabolu bypass ale no le ka fami ki immobilizer andum fanan e ka chabolu programme ale fanan e ka motola masingo bele mutaka ko ka be fita e sedea se murum fanan yalla masingo lu doku ale ise moto chika fo santo ya lande benten kanka koto jibe problemo be dawda isa belo ni atara fana ila tulo sulata falingolla etoloka tulo be keje wonin quality le katañola bayrin ila tulo fana be kabonan jamade ATC garage etoli ila cliano le nyasoto ke kumayande katambi tolu famala ande kamuri kadoku kendoke me yalon ko nyontangol long wonin spare parts sol men yalon ko e mang nyonsoto ando nila moto panta Gambia dawoda moto be bulle be yalon ko ise nyafu ye city ye chika ye sambale nan fo gara soto ye doku ando tulu kendo lebe bulu tulo le be yalon ko ne yakela masin kono akadiya masin fama na lafta kuma koyo moyle bulu ali kumandi
355-9901
or
347-9716
or
+49-157-338-88502
wala ATC Garage mbale farato bojang kundale ATC Garage nyinulle nata kanda handi na motolo. a mbadiŋolu ko badala trading mi yalon ko abale gunjur marché kono wala nata kalu da hande motorcycle la fannala bayri inside moto da koliyata adu motorcycle lu itolle nata jamano kono nyin kammala kana tamo sone ande nye kabojang katajang wala ya sabu ko badala trading ye nyin motorcycle second hand sambale nan kabonan China ni ye sang akake fele koy motorcycle kutole sang idali be diari wala nyama wala momo yalon ko lafta nyin motorcycle la dron ese fero ke ye futa gunjurun ko la marché ba fangote ka fo mi gunjur central market dami yalon ko e kayelele tili wotili talanse na tambita minute tan saba somondala kata fo tala woro wula rola hol la feta kilinne sanna walla jama alingi kuman 7454464 walla 3921000 ko badala trading inatale kan dahandi motorcycle la fannala walla alingam borino ngatantalo cikaji
ni man ko di soto gombala bilol le nyanta jola foy maje trafika lembala
mbadi mon ita dun foy lafta motole ni la kaborandi ya sanji tan anin sey soto da kada way sandora ise fero ke yananan A&J Professional Driving School A&J Professional Driving School mbali damin wolon birkama madinati moto kendo le bembulu andun karandir lal min bembulu e mo karandir lal te min yalon ko e bulo koyta fer moto borondora foro ka minke wona mo kal karandir traffic wala anin muno mototi e ka fo mi ye theory nata ta fade o nun kundi ko kola ngal sinde moto fan kono nga baro di alla ngalu nende motola wala A&J Professional Driving School ntol mu nyonta woleti nkalu karandile nyin kamala alibulo senia set dawoda anni moto sitano jele annainana wala nalafta kuma koyo moyla nyinto alin kumandi 7052643 wala 3077929 wala 6662643 hani bi alsen email jajusijamanti@gmail.com
abeli dobu tawjo
holiday lalle fonionde lalo bata banta bayrin T&B Seaside Residence ñinulle nata kadinkira kendo di alla damine alon ko nal nata fonionde wala asetara no jele na ñembugol dun ibe nakrim badale badam bale dami wolon burusu bi face wanti minute fula tamo doron ise futa silabaka andum bitikol manjam fanna restaurant ol fanam bebe mbala jele anin supermarketol man na da wala murundanga moto surale je 4x4 Mitsubishi mi alon ko nibe sirin kordanyin kono ase samba ke inati bari badi ngolo nyinti T&B Seaside Residence na jamani laba bungol le sodale mini yalon ko ni dunte kono doron bane ho doron andung na jonkongol be senior ne ibe wararing ko nyin jaman laban jonkongol kake nyamin ni nata holiday la Gambia ilafta kela holiday le enjoy inila dimbaya lomba wala foy kunkile na lomba feroke iye kumandi 700-8081 wala 921-2207 wala hansa ndorong alse kumandi WhatsApp +33659433820 T&B Seaside Residence tonya residence ol siata Gambia le kordado mine yalon ko fonyonde long bari nyin korda abe mu bane hote ka fo mi di Gambian flavors wala al ngambore noje T&B Seaside Residence.
kobe mu watoleti everything is time kobe mu watoleti kafo
fantankode wala fisiata fanjaroti pankanta kurto fanan mone buka fara nyene ya sabu Gambia National Insurance Company jama basa fay GNIC Limited wolle nata pour nyin kamala al sal fankanta ni tolla baydi tolo ka minke wala mu insurance te e ka fomi fankanto walla de e tol ka minke kabiri moto insurance ni moto le be bole lafta insurance le jola walla fire and burglary insurance nyin kamala nila dulale janita walla la bitiko janita ise fankanto soto contractors or risk insurance, travelers personal accident and marine insurance kata employers liability insurance. Yindul be mu fennati mi yalon ko itebe do ko la dawda fo jiyo kono don tinto kan walla motole be bulu ban fo bitiko ise fango tankandino wala andi toldu mi yela kodia e bale Gambia banko bele kan la kunda babe dame wala mu 19 Kairaba Avenue Atlas Petrol Station o komala e manna dawole e bale bundung e bale burusubi e bale banjun e bale bakote e be basay farafenye brikama do e bale dame wala mu gonjur la main Johnson oti ni kabona jame mbato janni be futala gonjur Johnson ba fangoto babar farlalu nyaatile wala je e bale waleto walla baadi ngolo alnga ferolo ke ngam fangolo kanta nyin kamala mone kana na kutolo fara bari momalo ala be binkela sama walla ning dafta ku jama lon na nyin kulto alinge kumande ni la telefono la 200-4933 walla 985-6744 walla 385-6744 brikaman kolu a asute diata ibe tirinde ngali babar wafi dulale la dron mi yalon ko afele gunjur la Johnson ba katamoto birkama sate kon
toma makarikula amako
mbadi ngolo Ablaye Sidibe lande Ablaye Sidibe atemu jara lalati mi yalon ko amu nyonta wonate aka jara loke minna wala mu yiri suloluti ando Ablaye Sidibe abe nyin jara la mi yalon ko asiata sanji mwang anim fenti andung ay taman se rolu landile modu min yalon ko ay jara dolu tatale foy kendiata kereng walla Ablaye Sidibe aka sasal min jara wolle boko nin nyaadi mo bera asifa o sifa iba kuman lale ay si ay nyaajibe ni atra se nya jara no ate ba fulele ase boro dira mi yalon ko ise jata kendia soto noje amanna da wala aka kulu fetango fanan jarale asifa o sifa bari mbengalo ne kulu fetango de asifa du siatale bari hani kelu men fanan yalon ko e buka futu wono bake aka nyilu fanan na hajo du topotole ni futara Ablaye Sidibe madoron e sasande mo min bije aka boro dirale e bajala ko semurun e futu o keno anyama amanna da wala fanan modu men yalon ko ka pile soto bari pile fanan wato dolo asetarela italonna bar wato doro asatarela iyamira fo sasa doro wala Ablaye Sidibe atemu nyonta ngolati na anata kanyin sasa li jara anda ke jara ni minna wala mu bor suloluti wala Ablaye Sidibe de akatarari talindin sate kono tene wotenen anin talata wotalata andung afele anyabe tilindin Amadiya lapitano la e kafodamin Amadiya Hospital talindin kunjang bare arabola anin aramiso arjumo sibito karafo dimaso wo be akatarale birkamale afele Madina filoto ni futata Madina filoto dron ni ko Ablaye Sidibe dron iba tandire lale walla ni atare lafta akumande la nyin kamala ina e kacha jani be futalala alsa kumande nyi nombala
778-2504
walla
269-3798
badi ngolo Ablaye Sidibe de ni atare yenyin sasar soto ngamin fo futala ning ala ye dema ibe jata saha soto la jele baring bor kendo le babulu Ablaye Sidibe wala be kumandirola wala Ablaye jarama
assalamu alaikum mbadin lamelalu anin mbadin jibelalu moben jibe kan dawada anin ibe lame kan dawada ngali bisimila ngalo konton al tolnal kontonna analu jamonna senu anal be wato mento anin albe dawda kale bisimila kacado ninyin tembo sida menka bale alla lamar kunda bato menketa home digital fm jama ka kumandi su radio la brikama sata kono janto men yalon ko wala dum fanan be jiberola ngal bisimila Mengbe Kering television oto al hawa kono mbade no nyin kacha alpha ba pamodo bojang telka kacha nyin nati bari suwandirola fannala anin bulmuto wato dolu ndol fanan kana nka nyenkelen siraw nyin kan suwandiro kamala woto alpha dalda kala nyamen dron fanan sa follow wala ka Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mansa kallankew ka atentu ning tento be kamal mankurola anin fanan ka warandi ning warandiro be danda siruna ate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tembo mena ay niyotumbala ay ndema bi fanan mutanan jankana si katanyin kundo be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fanan dan asendema nse nyin kata nsa damuta bismillahir rahmanir rahim ka adabula ning alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fanan dan sasa tolu men be la rawnu kan men be singolu kan ban men yalon fanan nyokol be la hanifan men yalon ko sondo me hellolu soto be masatalla dan alama alayso ifanna be masatalla fanan dan taba furolu men yalon ko tata iman kujaw ka alala men yakendi ay samba ntol men yalon ko men niola manjim make men yakendi ay ntol fanantu niola odombe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala danna alama alay ladula ke jannatul firdausti be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala fanan danna bariwnu men yalon ko tada wulala e tolle yalon hamen kol mo fende nin ayatara walla muyla walla mu unata kolu nin ayatara walla muyla kayrolti alama alay mafa borom jasi
abaraka bake adam ka lamoy lal ning juber lal be konton ke bismillah bi fananga kachato bi tenango July karo til tan ning worowla 2023 kal bismillah dron adam ya fanya be lare ngole nyama nalen tolje jan dron isalonga bulumutole be fanna doto bari notwithstanding kal kondo mi fanayat na mansila wolo nga lonne atol min be fe programme kono aldeson nga silobula an min fang diata je wolem ko boss ba fang katara ko fotole ka kulandi ku so alhamdulillah nga tentu wala nga jay bake katul fanan lamur lan lin juber la tentu adamay dual minke alamay bi jabila ni jabida fanan alama talalan tema nse duwa ron na dimbayal je min mu tamalalti yaron de la dimballe multi
ambassador
ha wallahi ka duwe drum fadera ibe kuto ala se kairo keje na mol min yalon ko ye sendina ni wato kono ani ku ya warta bar bitum ala la kero mo fana man fennoje nse min fo drum wolem ko ala dani fo ye sendina ndame wo ye fisia e buta dame ala e won nole anu jikata ko aba kelal minu fanam bije ni la kairo bije mbe ala dani la ase suturo laikan isaje ko ikaneje foy kemira pour que sendina minu fanam bije ko ya kul dolu bela mi yalon ko fo kulloto lo man fo banketo bari momo ko ya ko mbele tele yalon mbe ala dani la asa be sonandale mi de kayti ku problème wol soto do ku ko wala jata kenda be ala danila asa be sonandi katun alla kayro wolentol la kayroti ndalta fula janne anu be continuer ka fo lodla mbala nyim banko kan asembo warta bake alka kul kejang albuga interest to je albuga ke ku kamma bore kaje ko banko dingole kontan albadi ngole kontan woto mbal danila mbi ala danila ko atul kontan di watu wati bawo atul la lodla mingo minti wolon kaje ko nyim banko dingole kontan boro kafale ala baraka bake kontan ta la ko ala baraka
amin allah ya rabbi alma o duwal jabila mobe duniya dawda alma duwanyin alma futale bema jeto na men kala dron mbadi unu ngal hakadani wato ta wate nimba dunnan kawal hakadani wala pour surtout men be jibiro alsala wonyama nimbe nyaato network ko nyum balanta alsalon ko amanken na nata koti annun amanken na muntolla lodla ko di bari network ko nyin kabo dame wollemo anim fanan sama fanan be ke kanne sa expect no ko network ko nyin ase problem ase wato do la sen jamfano do manding kadun gambia bolo nyama men kala nse kacha ko mendi bi nso notale bi kacha ko mendi wolen is the National Assembly of the Gambia respected by the government of the Gambia. Is the National Assembly of the Gambia respected by the government of the Gambia. Wala nyindi ko for Gambia la mansa kunda ba ye Gambia la dibide bungo ye horoma la bang ye bunya. For Gambia la mansa kunda ye dibide bungo ye horoma la bang nyemu nyinin karolti. Atol membe jiberola atol membe lamoro la mbella fila alsel lamoy ning hakilola. Ankana nyo lamoy ning jusola annum fanan ning mbe kumandiro kala dron ben dadu nakaja nyunton se kato beke na kawnu landi nyala men yalon ko asekenya karanti asekenya londi surtout men yalon ko wala mu nyim alfalji medbe nyim fanna fulo bela masa kundala mol be la moylale dibre buna mol be la moyla andu nyim fanna fulo mbe jikirin ko ibe benna wodo na yamaro na miraya abe kumala baka nyim fanna fulo bela bengoto pour banko la nafa kamara me menkala wala nyinde ko bi mbe kuma ka onat la jang me yalon ko abe kala video di me yalon ko minister ye banko ka banko kan birin tembo men na Senegambia salo minister honorable minister Sidi Keta atata num bantala kambe mo signeji anin Africa 50 tema adiamta CNBC kibar kunda fane kayta ndila ko salo nyin ininyulu kambentale million keme dola kodo wolbolo di la Gambia la Gambia be salo di la iba taman la sanyimo anlulu annun ila wokonom keme o keme tan anlulu wobe kele la interesti me yalon ko abedi la nyin kunda nyinna dia molu wata political party ol diamuta banko dum diamuta politician ol diamuta fese rolo keda ko le jamaa bay bare minister fana yebbe ngoke kadiamu kiba talale munebe mutari to bulu barra ngama kumala pour kawnade
abe kumala fadera bawo nyinin ka rolem ni ajube follow kibaro bota dameng amanke gambiati kibaro bota bantale gambia dingol ya moy ko ya fanya men gambia dingol diamta kola economy sol mian ko wol kamam fankola fannala wol diamta kola politician ol diamta kola député el fon diamta kola ndara fam fongaje député li ya foko ibe kumandir kela ni minister fulol la works in finance pour ite dankuela e yinkol seneyandi bari nataje minister saba information works and in finance ye kibar bengo kumandi press conference pour fananding kibata la le kacha katandi mola mune betol bulu so wala tina abe kumala bake ngalla moy ni minister la ila nyim bengoto nga video nyinta kirfatule ketendu keje kirfatu fa kum mayna ketendu keje ni wolbe kukilin ne ni wolbe kukilin ne obviously ni wolbe kuke bari nga video nyinta kirfatule fadera ngalon se lamoy ni minister sabol Minister of Information, Minister of Works, and the Minister of Finance.
Definitely. Anunga kalam da ko bi from standard we attend ko a reliable sources so ka ko bi letter of boda dipte bodo tenel letter of alon katara minister nyin kan woto insellama minister le mem fo nim bodo inse mundang ning alena jiberke minister la kuma kawna.
Because of public concern and in the interest of further clarifying matters of common good, working as a principal pillar in government, that is the commitment, the democratic commitment of government under the presidency of President Adama Barrow to be communicating to the public on matters of governance. This conference had been called. I will now call on the Honorable Minister of Finance to deliver some statement, and then the press conference will begin in earnest. Procedurally, we have planned 1 hour, 1 hour time, and the procedure is going to be that if you want to question, it will be one question at a time. You will raise your hand and your intervention will be preceded subject to approval from the chair. And you identify also your media house that you represent. As I said inter alia, the Honorable Minister of Finance is here. The Honorable Minister of Works and Infrastructure is also here to respond to your questions. I will leave them to deliver a statement before we go into the question and answer session. I call on the Honorable Minister of Finance, then to be followed by the Honorable Minister of Works and Infrastructure. So, Honorable Minister, it is all yours now. The Honorable Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, Honorable Sidi Keta. Honorable, welcome.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Information and Communication, Mr. Jammeh. And thank you, Honorable Minister of Infrastructure, Permanent Secretaries, Minister of Finance, and Permanent Secretary, Minister of Infrastructure, and the media houses, the Fourth Estate, all other protocols duly and respectively observed. It is our pleasure, and we thank you all for coming to this press conference to help shed light on the recently announced engagement of Africa 50 in the asset recycling program of the Senegambia Bridge. We are very impressed with the level of public participation and the concerns and opinions shared. And as a responsible government, we deem it necessary to call this press conference to shed additional light and information in order to make clarification. As you know, it's a national development process and there is no copyright to it. Opinion and contribution can come from corners you least expect, and we warmly welcome that. In a nutshell, we will say the discussion has really been very animated, and it came on the backdrop of an interview I granted whilst in Togo, attending the shareholders meeting of Africa 50, on the sidelines of which we signed 2 agreements, and the interview was conducted by the CNBC network. I wasn't even expecting it to be that wide, because they just called me in the corner and I gave the interview there and then. But the signature was a public ceremony, and we signed 2 agreements. One was the joint development agreement. You know, you have the transaction we have embarked on is an asset recycling. And asset recycling is a financial instrument or financial terminology or arrangement that you go into for cash flow producing assets, which are producing predictable and reliable cash flows. And as such, instead of waiting for long years to be receiving the cash flows in drips, you take the monetized value or a significant amount of it upfront from the investors. It's in other words, a form of asset-backed security, which is called securitization. In layman term, it means you have right to cash flows, but instead of waiting for a foreseeable future, you have investors who are prepared to pay you today, in today's money terms, and they will be patient enough to wait to be collecting this stream of cash flow in the future. That is the securitization of the... and one thing we will say, we have to make a lot of distinction here. One, asset recycling is not the following. It's not a privatization. Privatization is interaction where government sell its shares or ownership rights and title in an entity to a party outside government. And 2, it is not a sale, because in a sale transaction, the number 1 criteria is your title will change. Like there will be a consideration that you will receive as the seller, and the buyer will get title. And it's not a mortgage, because the one important difference between a mortgage and a securitization is, in a mortgage, at the end of the mortgage life, the asset is yours as the buyer, as the mortgage, as the one who benefits from the mortgage transaction. As the institution who is going into that, you technically sell, but then you hold on to the title, but the title will be name of the tenant or the landowner, and the title will pass at the end of the mortgage term. So the very important distinction is, we are not doing anything like that. This is a nationally strategic and significant asset, and there is no way the government will in the thick a process to sell a strategic asset like this. And for background information, this bridge was built by the African Development Bank. And the counterpart we are dealing with, which is Africa 50, is an entity or subsidiary of the African Development Bank. It's the infrastructure arm of African Development Bank. We are not dealing with a private company who may be driven by private motive. We are dealing with a development partner, just like we deal with the European Investment Bank, the World Bank, the IDB, and other development partners. These are partners in development, and their focus is on infrastructure. Africa 50 is owned by 31 shareholders. The largest shareholder is the African Development Bank, and the chairman of the board of directors of Africa 50 is the president of the African Development Bank. Then the other 30 shareholders are African countries, of which Gambia is a member. So we are going to an institution which is an international institution who are development partners, and that's why we have chosen them, because they are the infrastructure arm of African Development Bank. So in terms of opening up to tender, procurement procedure, conflict of interest, we are dealing with a development partner. And that is very, very reassuring. And this was, in fact, that's why the signature was done on the sidelines of the annual shareholders meeting, to which I was invited as a governor of the institution. So Gambia is a bona fide member of this institution. So that is very important. I will emphasize the transaction we are embarking on. It's not a sale transaction. It's not a mortgage transaction. It's not a privatization transaction. It is simply a monetization of the rights, because an asset has two characteristics. You have outright ownership, and then you have the rights accruing to that ownership. So we are separating that, and we are only selling forward the rights to the cash flows, which is in the form of tolls emanating from the bridge. I want to, if any journalist believe a financial terminology or language is used which is not clear, I would very much welcome request for clarification. But sometimes you cannot avoid calling them what they are. I'm just trying to emphasize that. So when I say monetization, I don't mean to use a high-sounding word, but in the layman terms, you are now trying into cash, your future cash flow. Like, for example, we are collecting revenue from the bridge every day. But when you monetize that, it is that right, who will now collect that revenue, that you are giving to Africa 50, which is an international organization, and they will be the one to collect. And there are terms and conditions. What we have signed is not given. So the asset recycling we are using is a joint development agreement, which is a joint venture. It's not an asset recycling where we say you have rights to these assets and then we are hands off until when the asset come back to us. No. We are shareholders with Africa 50 in a special purpose vehicle which will have rights to those cash flows. And the arrangement is that Africa 50, being the key financier, bringing money to the table of the proceeds, which is $100 million, will get 87% shareholding in the special purpose vehicle. And as the government of the Gambia, which is going to be represented by the government of the Gambia in the board and all the government structure, government of the Gambia will get 12.5% shares. Those shares we have not paid for. Those shares accrue to us because of the rights we've given them, in addition to the money that they are going to pay upfront. Normally, when you do this type of transaction at an arm's length, you would have to pay for your entitlement to those shares. But these are bonus shares that they have accrued to us. So that is the nature of the transaction. And the second agreement we have signed is the heads of terms. Heads of terms in the layman terminology is like an MOU. An MOU in the sense that we are saying when we go to conceiving the concession proper, these are the broad outlines that the concession agreement will cover. The concession agreement will cover operation and maintenance, environmental, social, and governance issues, fiduciary issues, the welfare of the infrastructure, because the existing toll as it happens will be totally redone. There will be a better toll system that will be developed in order to ensure there will be, one, transparency of revenue collection and reporting. And government being at the center, at the table, will not in any way not be aware of what is going on, because we will be in the board, but the management and operation will be delegated to the Africa 50, who are the private sector entity specialized in this. So these are some of the clarifications, and I will also hasten to respond to some of the concerns we have received. That is, procedurally, why has the National Assembly not ratified this or given us approval? No. National Assembly in the process has the legislative and oversight role over the executive. There is no legal or financing agreement that you will first go as a Minister of Finance before the National Assembly to say, I'm going to do this transaction, can you allow me before I do it? The Public Finance Act, which empowers the Minister of Finance, gives the Minister of Finance the right and the liberty to engage and sign on behalf of the government of the Gambia any financing agreement. But what we have even signed is not yet a financing agreement, because there is no obligation for the state to pay the proceeds of this directly from the Consolidated Revenue Fund, where it will serve as a loan, and this loan will be serviced periodically. No. How this 100 million will be paid back to the investors is that the cash flows that will be collected as toll revenues will be used primarily to settle those financial obligations. One, any residual profit will go as a dividend distribution, which will be shared between the government of the Gambia and Africa 50. Third, this special purpose vehicle is not a foreign company. It's going to be a Gambian domiciled company. So we are not dealing with a foreign company here. All operations and the laws governing this agreement will be the laws of the Gambia. As such, it will pay taxes on its operations. So we have basically three streams of cash flows. One, the upfront cash we are going to get. Two, the dividend as shareholder. And three, taxation arising from their operations. So these are some of the things. I know a lot of questions will come, but I believe we should set this out. People quoted the Constitution as saying it's a violation. Not as a finance minister, you sign an agreement without consulting the National Assembly. I have, in my short term as a finance minister, I have signed more than 5 agreements. And in none of those agreements have the National Assembly given me the prior approval to say, go ahead and sign. The process of, you will only go to the National Assembly on 2 conditions: that there is a future obligation, that is a loan, and that the executive has cleared it and submitted to the National Assembly for ratification. And normally in the financing term, even your partner will put it as a condition of effectiveness that this loan or financing facility will not come into force without the ratification of the National Assembly. So these are some of the clarifications, I hope. But I really welcome the comments, and my colleague minister will proceed on some of the details. Honorable Minister, please. You have the floor.
The financing agreements and also the technical specificities of the facility that we've just signed with the Africa 50. Just for some operational issues, because I have also seen this trending, and I was also contacted regarding the fate of the current staff. And I think this is also very critical that we clarify this. Currently, all the staff that are at the Senegambia Bridge actually are on the payroll of the government of the Gambia under the Accountant General's Department. Now, if Africa 50 takes over and assuming that they want to proceed with a certain number of staff. Of course, as a government, we have to look at the technical capacity of the existing staff. And if an assessment is done and they are actually fit to be employed, of course, I mean, they will be absorbed. If not, then, you know, I mean, they are already permanent staff of the Accountant General's Department, so there is no loss in terms of employment. I have also been contacted regarding the consultations. What I can assure you is that the Africa 50 and the government of the Gambia has been in direct discussions for almost a year now, isn't it? And all the critical stakeholders within the sector, like the Transport Union, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Transport Works and Infrastructure, and also other beneficiaries within the sector, like the Gambia Ports Authority, the Gambia Ferry Services, have all been widely consulted, and proper data was duly collected during this time of consultation. You'll be surprised. I mean, at some stages of the Africa 50 and my staff, the technical staff of my ministry, you know, were stationed at the bridge for almost 2 or 3 days to look at the operations, to look at what could be done better, to look at how we could properly, you know, and efficiently, you know, manage this bridge. We've also visited other important assets of, you know, within the control of the government, like the Basse Bridge and also the Fatoto Bridge. So this process, you know, was subjected to a very thorough, rigorous consultation, and the result is what we have seen. And quite apart from what we have done in Togo with the signing, the Gambia was highly hailed by other African countries, and we were told that immediately after the finance minister signed this with the president of the African Development Bank, other countries also came in because they have seen the benefit of this. I mean, we have all seen how we were struggling at the Senegambia Bridge. When I was appointed, myself and the minister, Honorable Minister of Finance, when we were all appointed to our respective current positions, we looked at the issue of infrastructure of, you know, financing, and we look at how much is available to us as a country, the constraint this is placed on the budget. And we've decided to go on a tour of the country to look at our facilities. When we went to Senegambia Bridge, I think at the time the collection, the highest was between 14 and 18 million dollars. And we immediately instructed that the automation systems should be put in place, the CCTV should be operational, and also the barrier should also be installed. And that month, I think we collected about $49 million, $45 million. And then since then, it has always been between 30 and 40. So you could see, you know, the improvement it generated. But when we went into the specificities as to what we needed to do to ensure efficient management, but also collection at the bridge, we realized that some of these things are not the core competence of the government. So it culminated in a series of discussions to the point of the Africa 50. And the Africa 50, as also explained well by the Honorable Minister of Finance, is a subsidiary of the Africa Development Bank that actually sponsored the construction of this bridge. So therefore, I mean, working within that circle brings in two benefits. One, you know, the same people that we have been working with and are familiar with the financing terms of the bridge also give us the opportunity to work with a subsidiary arm of their company, which is the Africa 50, which of course they are one of the major shareholders, to ensure that there is continuity. Secondly, there is going to be capacity improvement and building of the local staff, because I think we need to also, break down, this issue of 25 years. I think, as always the case, sometimes we react because we read and we don't understand. In most cases, we don't listen to react. We react because we have read something and we don't understand. If you look at the catchphrases here, it's either or, which means that we can be with the Africa 20 for 25 years if we are not able to, realize the RRI, sorry. Now, if we are able to do that even within 3-4 years, the asset returns back to the state. It still remains our asset, but the management returns back to the state. So these are the things that need to be understood clearly. It is surprising that we have seen all over that some people, maybe for political reasons, are saying that the bridge was sold, that it is a bad deal. But I want to believe that most of the initial reactions were as a result of a lack of proper understanding of the terms and also the process. But I guess following the interview that the finance minister did on West Coffee Time with Peter Gomez and myself, I think a lot of clarity came up. But still, we thought it necessary that we need to engage the media to bring in further clarification on some of the concepts that are still misunderstood, so that everybody will know that the bridge is still 100% owned by the government of the Gambia. The bridge is not mortgaged. The bridge is not sold. It is only the management. And here also you have to remember, managing the bridge does not necessarily mean that you are only collecting. Whatever happens with infrastructure, they will have to maintain it, they will have to do the maintenance, and they have to return to us how they receive it from us. So this is very critical. You've all seen 2 months ago when there was an accident at the Senegambia bridge, when a truck fell on the bridge and then it blocked access on either side. It took us nearly 6 hours to remove that truck because we don't have the removal machinery and equipment to swiftly react to some of those things. So one of the good things about this agreement is that Africa 50 will bring in its capacity and experience in ensuring that in case there are problems on the bridge or accidents of that nature, as we have seen happen 2-3 months ago, they will swiftly react and will not affect the flow of traffic, because any impact on the flow of traffic will also affect the revenue flow. So those things are taken care of. And I think this is a great opportunity because you remember in 1993, a very similar but slightly different transaction happened here with the Gambia Groundnut Corporation when Alimenta was brought in to take over the management but also the operations of the GGC. At that time, government kind of gave up on the operations and also management. But the good thing about this other one is that the private sector is partnering with the government, and government has set up an SPV with the private sector to run the bridge and also share profit. So this is a very innovative model, and if it succeeds and works well, it can be replicated in other sectors, and other African countries are also catching up with the Gambia on this very innovative model. Thank you.
Yes, I think, thank you very much. Honorable officials should undergo prior to convincing to go into it.
Mbadi unu ntollo mo nyola menkata kuma kaunde men bota Honorable Minister Sidi Keta Bulu ani Honorable Minister Ibrahima Silla me menkala wala nyinde ko kuma kaun nyin nata angale counto baldan namba kuma kan summarize la demanding kumol men forante be nadla ko
yes janni wo fan se atande ko video ni ngata
Fatu network instead of Kerfat
Fatu network ntantem video ti nga samana for evidence purpose and mol salon coming discuss but Fatu network le tamu video ti and doku kende ken lato ala baraka
Honorable Minister Sidi Keta wala follow diamuta I tandi ko Honorable Information Minister Lamin Queen Jame atelem programme ñun dayele ako mansa kundala sulo Gambian kolla ni sula koldo wala kendi watu jamale ka fintinan e ka diamu Gambian kole Honorable Minister Sidi Keta fana nara diamu ay tande ko ñimu camion ti melon ko Gambia aning Africa 50 tema ñim camion ñing ako asset recycling nem ko asset recycle niyo ma ko lam cash flow de wala kodo la tamo bara tarata kam men wala nyindi ko katara fen soto kan ila dinkira nyuno dami yalon ko itila tamu jeti bare kodo tara fen soto kan je me yalon ko wala mu na floti ako nyimma ka fo ko ibe nyin di kan mol dinkira la wala ibadi kan kunklina wala ibadi kan kafola akaman kawti ka fo ko talam ako dum fanan amanke wafiro fananti akado nin ayatara wafiro lam ibe dinkira ñun to fonga se keno ba falena wara se keno ko ñim fon iba tamani ka menna ibo falena la ka manka dontoro fananti kado nit dontoro lamu ako nin abanta bitata de kala duladi meya ya donto meya wala tabe kala jeti akodo amanka dontoroti ako ñin ini men ba ko wala Africa 50 di Africa 50 dum ako niol men ni tiol men beje ni ti tan saba anin kilin wolle beje ba menu la niyo siade be kono je wala African Development Bank ti Gambia fanan bawlu kono le akodo Gambia fanan niyo sotole ñindinkirata ko so Africa 50 wala mu African Development Bank la loro fannati ako wala kendi nin Africa 50 dunta ñin kambeon ñin kono kambeon ñin abe talla den menna wala mu ñulu a mance ko e dontorol ke bari ñulu be talla kodo men be talla wala men ka kanin ñin dulato ñulle be kala kanina ko motol men ka seleje ike pesa ñamen wodin kra ñun to ay tandi ko ñin kambeon ñin kono keme membe sotla ñin dula keme tan sey ani worwula a ko bitala Africa 50 le bara keme tan anin fula dulu lata kan wominala Gambia mansa kundale ako Musa fodo nyimmu bonus le wala nyimmu lankam fenne de sori fenne mu kabo Africa 50 bul me yalon ko aminan tol kam hanin na femmantara dunna je ay tandi ko ni ajibe nying dinkira men kara salo nyinti do ko men bebe kala jeto nin ayatara ay ngatan problem soro ka maintenance ala dandawna anim fanan dinkira nyi yetara nyama ay tratente ni wonyama ako fanan Africa 50 le betala marang ala maintenance anin ala environment bela anin fanan soto membe kalaje Africa 50 le betala wo fanan kanin na jeto ay tandi dum fanan ko nying ako nimme yamira coming luwa wala ay toy luwa latinya ka foko anyanta nyin landa dibide mona nya ko folo janning abe nyin nyin signala ako hani ako kadon ay nyin kammen siva nyon sabala signenu bira kala ministre fenteje atara dibide mudo menna ako nyin luwato dinkrate je men yaay tandi ko nyimmu fende me alon ka nyanda tala dibide mudo kanyi lan dibide nyakoro honorable minister ako nyim manke juruti ako kadu niajibe nyimmu fende me alon ko kodi mantara bola bankola kufo kono mem kodol men alon ko bankola kufol membe larim banko kan kodi mantara bola woto kanyulu jo ako nin ayatara dontoro mu wonyan kusifa lebe kala ko woto nyim manke dontoro ba nyimu menti wala nyinde ko ini nyula kamyon sinye e toliye kodo dila yedula ita fane dula di tolla yetara kanindro ke kanje yela na fulo ya bonde je honorable Ibrahim Silla kuma la sudiya kam ma fanan diamuta ayatande ko diamo siyara sutu molla ko la meni alon ko wala ka do ko kanyin saloto akobar molu salon ko meni be do ko la saloto wala be accountant general officer bolo ko andu wala ke jo ako Africa 50 ni nata ibe nyim molu jibe la men yalon ko ila senyul la wala isela do ko no wala ila do ko la wala settlement e sol tamanino wala ila makamo futata wolto wol sekeno mol jibe yalon ko seta banning ayatara mol soto je mammenu tano wol mum molle melon ko be do ko ke kan Africa 50 le wala be do ko ke kan accountant general office le Ibrahima Tentenda be diamula ay tan ko nyin Africa 50 ubela do kulalu natla nyindin kiratule anu inana natun janne follow dami alon ko yin salo ya ko jibe anno tarta nun je inin atala minisa kundala do kulal ka salo do ko jibe imanda woto akoyta da fo basse salo do fanan ka koli jibe woto fanan Ibrahima ya tandi Ibrahima Silla ay tandi dum fanan ko briye to lenin camion signé lomi Togo banku jama la content de Gambia la kola banko content de Gambia la kola fo fanan lafta pour que ñiñon kusiva ke men wala mu kadu ñiñon contract siva ko honorable minister ay tandi honorable minister ay tandi ko biri yata tombo yaka ministre ani ñi ministre men marra fankola akoye jibero ke kuja malala bol kono ñi salol ni ndoro dinkira ko don ako kono lum biri bankola dépense fana jibe ngata men ka sotala wo kono lum ini ñi ñom mira sifanara kaje ko ka ñin dinkira ka dunni ñi ñon kusiva kono ay tandi ko la kesisrol yatara num wato saloto million tan anin nani wala ka soto je bare biri tol nata ye bariyal keje ye kukaron fana nata je million tan nani anin koronto e ko yo soto njelo karola bira botola soto katara million tan sabale anin million tan nani aytandi dum fana ko mo jamalu men kadiyamu nyin kola ima fahamle walla ibuka karanno la ka faham walla men ka fo ima fahamle akola kendi jamal kaytul jale nyin kola anin dolbe je akaji kira nyin ko politico anin fahamu baliya wala yatinna ike jala nyin bar badra akamuta nyi minister la diamo be kon Ibrahima Silla fudo nyin aya tele kadu niya beji ba akamuta komen fombe nyimbe koma bayo ako budget constraint
abaraka bake fadera niaje abaraka for the translation abaraka bake fadera moro niya nying kachal jube nga commencé follow ning minister of finance la Sidi Keta Sidi Keta mintandi ko ala kacha kono ako nyimmanke ko ye saloni wafile bari ye min wafi wolem ko kodo min ka sodoje ako selling the rights to the cash flows kodo min ka sodoje ye wole wafi bari man salo wafi sai mo se fanyinin ka wola fo Gambia dum ate wo salo londire nun dron kaje ko ka salo solo dron ayke fenkoti pour kad la nyandi ngamira ko miro mimbe nunje wolen ko kabribe salo nyin lola ya mirale ko molu min ka cross ka bo jara soma kada farafenye o ka bo farafenye kada jara soma asiata bake ika sola wala le wota mo yilitenda ba motenda problème ka sodoje sainse nim brijo keno jele mialon ko nim mol nate be joro kela anse kodo sodoje nga wolem mirode so sa ni tata mi yatina yowoke inata yo wafi ya wafi. So what is the essence of kawo brijo sodo wo mu kilinti fulanjango wole mako niaji be tonyalo Gambia be ibe fenso to jele meaning ñu be 87.5 le sodola Gambia be 12.5 sodola akamto ko fa wole Gambia so wala le Gambia man fen contribute je ibe 12.5 sodola as bonus anum natara ko ye wato min signé ñine le kodo be sodo profito min sotota je ube tala le itema Gambia man sakunda ni itema atandi ko aketa kuti mialon ko it's a good deal for the Gambia anum fadera ngajube let's be realistic here nara la faka tonya fonyoe niela mo nying minister hani bi contradiction no sotota ila kacha kono an example will be mbenga Sidi Keta la moy janne na last program I mean tandiko ika kodo soto there was a month June of 2021
yes
it had a 59 million soto 59 million Ibrahima Sangare ko woman soto akadam 40 le naseda fa akadam 40 le Ibrahima Silla nada ko 49 to 45 49
yeah
bari Ibrahima hani bi atemam 59 la kofu but look at it, let's look at these figures Sangare ko
49
maximum ikamin soto 40
59
and in 49
from three different people
milwe monsa kunda kilon kono
Works Minister 49
Finance Minister
59
Government Spokesperson 40 wo nyim kuma sabati mimbota na mansa kunda bulu another factor kana the Works Minister la kachato follow ako mole problem mo soto ika ko karan buka faham wo seke tonyati but what is stopping Mansakunda near nying agreement si va sign ya fearing molie
before people will speculate
janning speculation be kala ya fearing mole kangol la ye kangol mi moy natre mantara fen nuka wo is very important isaje ko sign speculation tije kudo tije i min fota je wole be fola mobe ya faham niata wolo ni mata wolo fula nyam minti ako dokulan min bije ni ñil nata yalon wo be fotale ko mol se foyla doku walla ako ni nata e ba jubelale mine di technical know how soto
wala ñinde koy bebi tala do o kuma wala firi
ba fadera no fadera mi mo ñinin karoti wolem ko woto mbe ka understand ko yara fan woto na Mansakunda mantara try kan pour ka Mansakunda doku lal equip technically foy silata iko ni nata na minne wara kam do ko yemmol soto jele mi an ko man technical know how soto
so those people have to go
so ibe studio suno expose kan ko alle mol soto mi alon ko i manye na tarla je wo fanam wo mu point doti another point still from Ibrahima Silla la kachalto fadera ngamira ko natara lafta ka tonya drone fo nyoe natara mantara kudo noma mi yayi tandi ko mbe fen ndolnga target le sodo what is it target wolon ko yalon ko ila economy problem sodo le seriously julombe la siata ye so many projects also in your head for project go be fensa man nam banko kan fare fensa man nam banko kan wo man kumaya jang min kumata wolen ko ye so many projects especially atela ministry ye berolale across the country and wo be mu political promises seti wol nyanta fulfilla wala na ibe lafla kasla ko do la mialon ko abina in bulk police o keno fengo femba koma is not their problem finally fadera ako fenko ako sanyi mwani lulo
ni kodo ni ñu lela jul fenko sonno before 25
sanyi mwani lulo ako mol mam mim fahamje ako ne contrat go jibe abijele ko ase keno janning sanyi mwani lulu o sanyi mwani lulo kola but the point mindi wolem ako ñunu se wobe fansuno sanji saba wala sanji nane kontoto but it's for manyana mol silandila ba natara ko ñunu ñanda ke la $100 million bondi sanji tan konto kono ngata woto sanji tan konto kono abekela no nyadil
for is a
paso le la fala everything la fa woto mol kumbota minna ngama Ibrahima wole fo jang fayalo ne kay wole fo bang o amma wofo but the point fanan bije wolem ko ni ñin be la kodo soto sanji woni lulo banda abekela nyadil fadera medan na
definitely ni ñing fanal jibe ntebe dula den tan maldo jandimbe boss wabla na honorable minister me alon ka tele madara fankola tele fanala ntenge fanna den tan le sodije minan ko munte bul jahal balde ning ako loi man sembe di priority dan ko député bunla bantolo ngalon ko ñim banko kan jang munemu loi jumalen sembo soro banko loi bedi wala mu Gambia la 1997 constitution so ni ko nyako finance and for public finance act lem bank ni o fonye wo is an act but sa ning banko la mara kan kono closol beje men yaytandi ko ning agreement si va mo especially a loan dite wol dol signeno la ayatara imam findi dibide mo nyaati li nyaala wala na ne ministre diamo jibe akamunda ko ibe famboro ndika loan ko la pour kafo ko nyimul loan ne finance minister diamo be jibe they are trying to roll away from kafo ko nyimul loan net akamembe fodo wala is a cash flow whatsoever but akamembe borja wala nyinde ko nyimmanke londe because already yalon ne ko maral kawno labe je meya sabandi ko ala tunkun kebe tunkun talula anulula sapa kilin sapa fula saba nyawdo wali ya tan le ko ning ayatara ibe a loan of this magnitude tala ite o keno ite o kammen signeno la fo ning ayatara iftara député bundo baraka membe borja wala ni ko nyimmanke londe bar saying na manka lonti nyimmu mune kusi vani don toronte ntolla faamuroro wala na ne minister finance minister jibe akamem fo ko ka fon ka terminology le boranka angale kamballe fo bi yo sabadi ndi janne kuma aka angale kam fo le foni e camera lo module kan e kaje wala kuma lo rin lakelin ntol mo sula nyina jang ntol ngamira ning ayatara ba nyama minister nyanda nalan tolla kan nga meni moy nyim banko kan janto na manniga kawnu surwa kawnu fula kawnu serer kaunu jola kaunu ye memmo yo fonye ni afu tubabu konto maybe pour la international partners bara monna ya fonye kanto nga meni moy bari kanyin tam na nyin terminology bal use fa fon kana ka breakdown ngamira wol mu fenere me alon ko nyanta o jibe la bakele ministre nyanda sonnala ko nyin ntol le manol baya afon savare indi le man tam ntol le manol ntol ko nyimu don torol kadu moye million kemedila o million kemo amina marela dulala ba jola ni don toronta munam ntol le manol ya faamo le nyamade secondly ni nata o maral kawna dulala men ko nyanda tala député mo ni don torolam say nata ngeen nyimfo luwa meme banko kan nyan say luwa men ko ni atanyanda talaje atani wo luwa na kan memfo wonin luwa dumalen sembo soto soto député le bul mais sembo soto
fader ading ay dola kilimfo sila lofo ako kabring minister Keta
birana
ay sign
bankol
contanda ko
jamala banko jumala konta
no fine ñinin karo mindi fadera ñinin karo mindi fo bankol man asset sol soto se minu recycle no ba
muna wol follow mak
janni wol betala ka content gambela kola itol ni gambela interest mune dende interest la muna na wo bankol ma woke
fo ka content gambela
ka content gambela
ya men fo be yalo ndolla nga video menje mam banku je mela kontano itande mam banku je meya safara because bankol ni fenkata kola jama ka safela of either government pages or wala ministry pages or wala la office of the president ka safaje barante mam banku je biri nyin sanda lo na bi meya safara official page wala journalist ya quota ke la kontano ka itande ko na
di fak mu minti
na banko mo kontanta
we are journalists ngata conference all tole
yes
ni dara conference to on the sidelines ika jubele delegate mialonko wole kumata on that day meaning wole kuke on that day sidile contract sign
so
you understand kala bridge give out to Africa 50 so you don't expect any intelligent journalist ita modo noma
of course if it sidile no ya nyininka and ayaka on what basis and journalist on nyala doko kala kuma kilim fana beje silla ya foko ñul natanum Gambia janne Africa 50 andi taranum Sénégal saloto natana mol be jela ministry do kulal be jela ani tilisaba imanda wore tara basse bir jolto mune Gambia government stop ka Gambia no kalam dandi ko kabiri o watola taw nyato nyambe nyine koto lafta nyin dula kala tenente nin Gambia ko no so hakilola walla mune stop kabiri o wato yetadi jama Gambia government ni e cabinet meeting ke il faut que findina ya fanya ko cabinet meeting kala banga nyinel kacha what is stopping them because ngalon ko ite nyin kala nin ayatara ima approve at cabinet level say mune bali bire nyin approve at cabinet level imam findi gamen ko la mire aji beje so ngamira definitely ku jamalle be nyinin kar jamalle be nyin dulato and minister silla way mem fo ka fo political be nyin politico mo yol dundi nyin kono ani mo la fahamu baliya yemel landi molu nyakoro molu bolo fahamula ima mellandi nyako ima expect ko mol bo fanam faamu le honorable minister nyante wo understand na bakala and secondly kanyin ko politicize ngamine telephone lafta politicize la kadon kabiri nyim foto anim bi hani politician men be kadiyama kola mte mam politician mo ya politicize hani latest political party men labanda safaro kala GDC ntama any political connotation jela statement o kono ila statement o be kadamenti wona mu Gambia so kanyin ko ka politicize ngamira honorable minister alfone lafta nyim politicize la ala believe ko Gambia ko lam nin ale Gambia ko ke fo al nin Gambia se den yakata fo Gambia ko se la mireya fo an manyan najele ko nin Gambia ko la mireya fo ale o Gambia ko be ka politician olde mamira wonyada journalist lu katara nyinale civil society lu katara nyina janne politician lo katara so mamira niko political be nyin kono then you are not fair to the journalists, you are not fair to the other people many along ko ya criticize baseless criticize on a very fundamental basis bosba ibisimila
fadera enen alew ala baraka bake programme nyimbe diaren bake nga mo be konton mini alon ko nyintem boto ibe la moy kan ani ibe jibero fananna nyin kumayata bake andong nim nyin debate la walamba analyze la wati nyantale kanna emotion bondiji anin na ngajibe na kunkilin nafa wala kafkilin na nafa wo is very important but because nyin abetata nata ntoluten baring Gambia bi momo yalon ko futata sanje tan nani ite be diamo la ibe kela o kelela ibe kata kude mantra ke kaite famoye iba ke kan future generation ne wolong ibe mol min tulajang ando wulula be ka duwanye nela ndenga bata minke ndingole yetanka wala ndenga toro minke ndingole yetanka wala nte dunta fuare ya min kono ndingole yetanka wala nyina ina mbe kuo beke kan kaje ko purun na dinde wala nyatuta okay ni nata yin press conference o jibe dami yalon ko mo fulale kumata je kuin jamme ate nata le doron baring ni nata jibe nyendula fangoto sankare la nyanta sila je as a government spokesperson bari sankare a lonne nyinko man tiling ando nyinko man kato nyati so pour nyin kamala ka fango da hande mol ba fala sankare bari ngawo information o soto waya saba fango exclude je ka fango excuse ka bula nyin kono so lamin kuin jamena da pour ka acha ka kesiran tiyoti bari min kuma da nyin kata be kono wala mu minister fulati Sidi Keta anin Alaji As bari Alaji As sain debuka tof mba fala doron Alaji As wala mu Ibrahima Sillati yo dalila jumale nga fo nganyim fo bari Sidi Keta Gambia din jumale nyanta la Sidi Keta la kote bari Sidi lota Gambia be tema janne ako Gambia la polo la redundancy femol mini yalon ko kana Senegal la omu Gambia e nafa balete it's a bonus for Gambia Sidi ye nyinef kabiru lungo minna Sidi ye nyinke serious government Sidi nena manya na kala managing director ti koten sakoya bondi trade ya sambana finance amonta nyinno mukuti me yalon ko ni nata jibe fang man sakunda ibe boy kam molu kanne molu bene yalon ko ibe wolle marakan yo Sidi Keta ni nata do jibe tonya ka kanate fanan nale baring manipulation o dawoda ni bakan abuka ke tonyati baraka ke tonyata knowledge Sidi le lota kenya bato jam moman li dunga da kono moma silande moman femfaya ko August 2022 ye million talulu anin kononto e wala soto saloto ando anata fo amanda wala bar karwo kari nyinka kafule kabirin feri mi alon kay brand azibe bandiya minna and wolbe under the ministry of Ibrahim Sillale kabira ye brand ko be bandiya le be kalabante yala corruption because I will link no akoni na rajibe corruption mansakunda do kulale wala mansakunda la bunda da mabuka jenke bandina tajibe fansum bunda do wol fanan na jenko waratale fansum bunda muite talet ni fango jenken dije a masibo bebe kupile tele kan ni malong ebe la profit o manage la nyandile walela net money nyete male be o marala no ja bandina ta mansakunda jibe is different mansakunda mum bele tati nyofu kala malong bite kana jele someta katu ni nata jibe 1994 wo Sidi tara montole ya jamme nyindo ko min beke nena man Sidi je ando ni nata Sidi la profile jiba la biography anende to blato dami alon ko Sidi nene keta finance minister of a state Sidi be finance management wala dami wodam nying international corporations international organizations alabanta Saudi Arabia bari part of the job experience and then among the finance minister. So abe fengo fenke can be is a trial. Amonta aba jibe kan ne fabitano le fatitano. So nibo okela ikake hakil tula ballot. But the city is very much disappointing. What of ko ay Gambian college la teta la Carola Bake. wala nante nyullungol kono kiliwotile ni wolta nka ke jele sidi keta nyante fanyola do ko la le nimbital lala fanan nka ke jele sidi keta nyante fanyola do ko la andon wala mun tala protest mbe continue la wala la fajanni ba fala nyin karobe fara nimbulta fanike sidi ye fanyola ban foy me fanyo nimbital lala sidi ye fanyola ban foy me fanyo andu ngaji ke nyenne be nyanda kala gambian kol be la tanda de bari fanan ni nata ya jibe fanan aliw amanke iko wulo bali bande ka be subukulu watu how amanke wulo de subukulu faila nyino mi yalon ko tidi wotide na wulta na yala subukulu susuwa ka fay wo wulo e wulo bali batande kan suto ni nata ya jibe ntolo gambian kolu fam nyantale ngam fango de jibe kendeke nyin diamu sialu nyin idealu betalla siring te kukala yalon ma fo moita silo kan ye protest or whatsoever but luwa lebe na Gambia luwa le mini yalon ko loya jelle be Gambia mini yalon ko ito fana na corporate social responsibility it's a working on le kaje ko ka Gambia bonde because ngajele ko wo loya le fango ani wo jojo la ni mo kota ngol mini yalon ko lebe legal department kabiri yaya jamme bijang momon kumbo mi ye tolsi ngajele yaya jamme kan loyal mutajan ke fay stelo kono abe kol be kada because mune kada kabiri wato mi yalon ka be tinya kan iko aman tolu dati je ni nyinul lebe jonda barun tolu nganna ko do nyinde yo sidi ni nata ajibe sidi le ko 59 million Ibrahima Sankare nata ya faniyandi Ibrahima Silla nata faniyandi sidi be o bemoto amandiamo abokole ko minketa America kabirin dusano fintita ay French bread ta baguette aya nin Gambia bread compare sidi bidia kabulo ko saye nin sidi e sonko soto walale ako womu dusano la political statement neti ate he has nothing to say but the political statement it on finance minister ta peki atandia la Mengbe Kering ya understand but ndesan ñunul be bijele pour ila palasolo yo Gambia di ngol laftale min faham sidi kan yin tamsol min befo sidi wuluta jarale moma mande ga kaw moy katambi jara mandin kolti muna en annene sidi moy platform jumala be bandin ka kan fola pour moliya faham andum nyanta min kala wolom nyente ko you go to Senegal ibe la fengo fenkela e ka fonin surwa kan la nyindo yana ya translate makisal bira ba fola konta lola aya fonin France kan wala fonin surwa kan wala bara man mandinga kan laje among serer kan laje among fula kan laje and what there are plenty in the Gambia so e kaje kon to fangola self inferiority complex long ngata ndiko sidi na findida anyanta nyin kanol be folale kanyin kanol be fo is a waste of time banko yela lodula le soto and nyin it's not tribalism near for drum ka for the tribalism but ala jibe moju male ka information no pass no jamaa ya fahamu no nyola e ma fo ni mandinka kawna amoju ma because ngajele adama barona la fa la garwalle la din ku kota wala kanani mandinka kawna yaya jammena la mandinka ko nyaawonya na la fa information no mi modbe ya mo ya ka fo ni mandinka kawna walla be nga sonni nako mandinka kawo ni o fo min ni o fo wala nyanda kala na national language kaje ko ni afo nyindonu sa translate no le mo jama ya moy bari dene de sidi moy la do ol dol fala yo ni na te bota obeto sidi keta kamin fo anala nyim big terms in English a be man na fasoto because ni na rajiba kamune fo ye nyin angale kam bali fo e ka fo minuli wala ma faham ila wo angale kan man na fasoto o modi abakore ko bi nin Chinese so nata lo brikama ka Chinese kam fonye ko professor long ala professor ya brikama ko na famune la katun tole ya moti je mi kincho moy so ndalta o moy non so nyimbe tata nata sidika min fo ma mortgage amanke lonti marketing recycling no and monetization abe tata nata bi ntolle home digital FM law nimbi ntol tata nga projection o ken ko ngamira de sanje tanyato nin continenta do kola home digital FM nte million lulu sotonole so ngananga modo jibe me yalon ko a interest radio la
nga fay ko okay bari te interest radio dale say la fitale ntela sanji tan koto ngamin calculate wala bjenti ko mbe million lule sotala say wo million lulo dinna ite mara home digital fm la anin na programme wolu be ye marela bari ya foko wolle fanambe marla maintenance la so wodum dontoro lombang ko tayle rolo isa kumandi no dontoro la isa kumandi tayle rola bari mbe nga nyirlonne ko hani ndamalu tema julube juluto nibe o dontola motem moya ibe collateral le landila katande ko mbe nyillandila le in case mejo andu mansakunda katama wala nyam nyine asabu seda Martin ay KMC dundi as collateral so ni wobe kere nindenga na radio chika ngadi misali fe na radio chika nko sambay ko ni radio laftale tele ya kamande nye bari mbe mimbe soto laje sanji lulo kono wo be dinna ba ite wo sanji lulo kono yo mimbe dinna ite wonyine wo sanji lulo kono radio la management o itarete bulu wala mnyende nde la feta minella la feta koditari wala be dumbulo kono wati dandan andu nimma hakiloto ase kenye nimisoti ninga hakiloto nsitano le nga business do create karala bari fana mune minakela problem odi tumala min nandenga million lulta sambabulu ase dia sambale afoko ntede purungan nakodo sotono nyindulato mimbe kerim programme mbe oburu kala le wotina muna ponde sa lono nga fa hani mimbe kerim programme wobinale de wota kenora nisa fono le fana okay pour kanna radio nyin pour nga million lulo min be di pamod la samba sa fono le ko in fact pamod ka nyin programme wol min be ke exposing the government the news nyol sambale the government put la to task ntolta wokela because ninga woke pamod buka advertisement jama soto nyami ntol fanante advertisement jama soto la no nyama pour nyin kamala kanna kodo soto nga min di pamod la anunde pamodu luato anin moral intatina nga lo wolu kundo ka foy ko hanide na programme wala le min tarajal be tula janne yo na staff or fana min lu bije min boka altolu nin sambaye million lulu dinna ko sanje tanga o million lulu mutantata nko ngabungo le dati jana nga gadino le dati jana mbe wolu lokan fombato le kikala le ngato le samba woto do ko wala ban gadin do ko to man kato la do ko bar say min bije wolom nyinte ko samba mi o million de na bela fela kala million ol soto asano la na foko
ngal hakadani
abe muruna ne ha nanata drum ayo ya bismillah
okay abdullah kuma balal makam
wala
mufennel
yeta karkilin karfura karsaban jango ye bay ye modolu tanan kote man sakunda mune no woto foy ka fodi yele ko dia kuya nade moluta inyanta nyin nangamule kalaje walla nyanta nyin mo nangamule tala walla man salbe mol tala ka dia la prani ye doko man sabuka wokeno so sidi keta ka bim beta ka be murum ka be natinan min bije wolom nyinti ko ye nyin kacale meta kacalale bari tol fango fele ntol malo num bari tol fango le ya fonye iko nyin Africa 50 nata num fo bankoka jumal nene woje news to Gambia news to nde o ma moy nde Africa 50 ni to moy watu jumale ko ni Gambia be kuto wala mu wato men nasidi keta diamuta CNBC wotoro nen to ngi to lom bari yara fa nyunul nata Gambia janne nyim ministry fulol be lata nyokan itata kata sauver nin du ko wala hani media killing itor fangola website oto itor fangola Facebook page oto social media handle oto killing tije yami findinde fo kunun ne kata o fo mole ko wol nata janela assessment wo follow fang mukalabante yalet wo mukalabante yalet because ni be ji nyonku wala to nyalo Africa Development Bank wolle salo nyin dada wolle salo nyin sponsor but salo nyin ngamildo wolom grant long Gambia contribute Senegal ye domanding contribute bari man salo nyin dinna pour na banta ngana ngamurundira so wala mbe min fola wolom nyinte ko sidi keta ni atara tonya integrity bala andung a lata nyina ko ate min kara woko italale ay wobe tinyale nyin sayin anyanta min kala gambian kolye ngalon ne adama baro ta bayla barate nyanta min kala wolo mo ay kem moti mi alon ka ke forward ay resign ay fonyo do kuwala ay do ku do ta bayri fate fangore kala finyin nabang ko presole kala kunto bang because ika sidi la soto fo nyamin ndesan yalo niman tiling yes soto ke nyawo nya ibuka watano mol ko sidi mu koditiyoti kay do ko ke international appointment jamale bani hani bi sidi ma watano aben na banko tala babe tinyala be para kay nyinyon sifa fulale sinye gambia wala mu jumaldi katun deman gambia la asset je min tata recycling na follow apart from bridgeot bara ko ay sign okay dorlale atela maralo kono wala mu jumanin jumaluti bari man journalist la question or fintindina asake moy tarayi wo journalist or kono mimba nyen kale koy fula sign o fulo mu jumanin jumale because as far as we know gamtel is struggling hani bi abe gambia la bolo a gamsel mi alon ko every end of month e kata julole ta pour ka do kulani jo gamsel ma fango sambano modla julole bela karo bela muna ne alma wo recycle because nana nga mwele ko they inviting private investors bari fomo nyimbe sanna $10,000 la jalan sise wolom nyinde ko ye contract ko soto e ma soto ina wo $10,000 wotata yo nimboda wo beto ngana nan alaji asto bari alaji as ate buka diamu ama UDP ma kabin fan fo political le dundato abe UDP la andum ndolbe kamfare UDP kamma ngo kabiri nyinkuo keta UDP as a main political party a man statement finting from the executive at the party level for kaje kanyinkuo bayi nata foko UDP was more active during Jamme than during Barrow because jamme be fatiyari nyawnya be mod fala be kuol bekela nay kuke minne silo manta UDP de kake first opposition party ti mi yalon ko ini reaction o kara bare mo woje bare Ibrahima ndesan Ibrahima e baro filinde bakele andu habe denku nate Ibrahima kungole kan ni Ibrahima be mu kombo godi bara e baro filinde de ibajala nim baro fanan be jabiro la nyina wati aba fola le political le dunje because nyunul le kate ka fo baro e tenninte e ba filinde la this is why no wonder in every election after the presidential election baroka boyle Ibrahima bota jambur fango dami nga manganye woto sidi keta bota jara dami fanga manganye woto so baro nyanda nyinula ko jibe la nyinulu ko tonya ibe mako kan fo mantra mako ka Ibrahima long do ko wala minister Ibrahima katara siring ate fango ka echo ko baro ko biringa atenat ay do ko minke jawra make yaya jamme make ate do ko min kala nyin sanje dan tampona bari Ibrahima fela nata murun kata nina ko barola o kuma kense molete da afo nyaadile Ibrahima ko moto bale boyta Senegambia bridgeot itol fam man idea sote man machine sote man fere sote be o moto ba bondila oto nyaadile moto ba nin salo katita dum itol be munekela fo itol buka contingency plan ke so which mean ite nata ikata di Gambia di won lako nyin sanje tal lulo min be tambitan tanga do ko minke min be no maralo la sanje tal lulo mo do ko ke bari ite hani moto ba boyta ka moto ba wulindi ka jenkende pour moto doli tambi ite mo wo fango soto no onda yo ministry bari kata ninna ko baro e do ko minke baro bina do ko minke an nina tambe ko conclude la nyande Gambian ko alna let us be realistic opposition ono e nyanta minkela media be walela bari media fanan na do ko lon pour ka woke opposition on le bulo bula wala nan ko al ngam fonyo nyin tantan ko solla al ngam fonyo nyin dom balula na lonko we have a country to fix for our new generation our future generation nyin denkilolu nyin dongolu nyin nyo sabo nyin nyo farto woten sammanula dawoda let us be realistic alinga martota nga Peru pempen akumoto Mengbe Kering o fo nyoye yaje birin carte fayo kana muso do di amuta ko yaya jamme ka kenya min baro nyanda ka kero nyama hana tara bita pol kensa ngol londe la mol la bunda do hana te kala jiko ka tarajele baro yo wona wo kumo mwele baro ya lonne ko kodo tabulu kodo te man sakunda bulu bari kodo te man sakunda bulu nyaonya baro e bere jelle la within 2 weeks across the country mbe sila nangam la lola jang mbe fenke nangam la lola jang mbe banjunu bara mbe salo la kala je ay wo berolu la ka kol bela hakalang haynan hani bi amambang kiyang haynan hani bi amambang silolu min doyata silolu beti wala mu ibrahima silla fangola ala awuluta state min to jambur wo silo haynan hani bi amambang bi sama kono ni tata je fotata dinkira dolto wallahi ikela mo nimmoto sutungole be buri ka dole folo ka jibe fombe tutula le fonte tutula nyinno mu kuti mi yalon ko ntolu kombe ci kire nyinul lela wala asabu gambia nyinyanta kalam bela kuwalete kaje ko gambia ngodoro ne soto ise mi banta nyawnya ise ke nyawnya alin kana song diri modu nyinolu ye gambia tinyantoliye yaje barobe sirine de Baro doesn't have any idea about all this. Nimmo fulo nimmo dantangolo. Kata tourism ministry wolle nata kajeko jannimbe fotala election oto mbatu nga baro nyaku katandia la kombe nyimbe rol mi lambedo andi hani 100 million o nyimin dila ten nyin hani sila killing ala safe ndele ngafa ala safe dawoda ale na jibela 100 million o because ni 100 million dollars dila inyanta abola nyenyoto lo 100 million dollar na dunte bulo kono I mum plan ne bete bulo but they never come up with any plan dodda man le betalla je be thank god GDC statement of bonde and I expect ko UDP nyanta statement of bonde and la miro to fang nyanta kala monete opposition only ke united front let them tackle these issues because new one thing yalo mune bina kala mbe kala failed state leti na assetol min bebe mbulu mbebe wafilale mbe kala banko assetin tangolte andum banko nama asseto soto abuka dontoro keno andum kudo fana mbije mi nyinul dunyinna wala mnyinti ko ni nata yaji be famfa ikajele ko kodi table ikata dontoro la dulal min beto wo dulalu sukita le sign because itita dontoro la dulato e mon collateral landije so ni bita wala ibe fenne bondile ibe min landa but sai wo valuable fenten tolubulu mi yalon ko obviously sa bondino le nga landi pour nyinka mala nga julo jono yo tariya nyama don janne mbe bolaje kunun nga ni modolu diamuta mini yalon ko wolle be birjo nyim fagoto mini yalon ko be birjo nyim fang wali min tandi wolom nyinte ko ni nyin ko beji be Senegambia bridge e kamin foko hamba mba tayle la mba kelaten nga 100 million ta ni nata jibe wali min tandi wolom nyinte ko salo nyinto ni nata jibe rates anene manji 35 million ye dumala you understand but ni nata jibe Wato Dolo, Nina Rajibeko, at this rate, the Senegambia Bridge is generating about 400 million per year. Near some of Bacono Jibe, Senegambia Bridge Kamim Bondi, a Katale for million, there's a million Kemenani. Sawasang a Kamim Bondi. So Nina Rajibe, minimum Latina doyat. Now that the new model lafita Casalo Nyentaile, ibe jelle dilela $100 million. So sai nina rajibe company mini alonko wolle batala Africa 20 iko yemin signé wala mu million wala mu sanji mo ani luti te koy wala signé bari Ibrahima Silla nata mune fontolier wala nan kale ko Ibrahima Silla nga hakilo to wato de to nyaka kanala la mantara fennaji pour kala palaso maradoron andun tanni mote diala mi alonko da woro wulale bela you have multiple mouths itata dawoda niya fo jay ko nyinnam yebo to bita min fala jana wata kelo la kilimote jawon sa andum manyan nakatulun gambia iko sanyi mo anir lolo niye wala fala mitimoto ala interview bar Ibrahima nada ka fanya ko ha ni nyini la million façon soto sanji tan sanji nano kono ibe bola jele ye birijo sendina muna na tulu makata no wo sanji nano kono atule min soto ali wotalia implement banko kan atara julu talula bari nyemmo julote because already e kamin fa manke lonte alka jumale nene already moye million kemedinna dollar kodo nganna kunko diala ngai ko ibela kodo soto la nyin kunko la wo mu tayre rote mu dontorote so e kamin be fonye a be bogos moni nyanta fintela le kaje ko ya tandi nyun la kon na fengo de minul tarambulu ni man fendolu la faje ya do mon dingol min tarambulu e manyanda wolu tala ka wafi ka ke kunkulenat ni wonte te ko e man sido min finance no bi nyin makata min tambita minister jelle na kodolu sunya ini la dimbado gamera abasanya miyalon kabe audit report of face kan muna mala musufulo be samba hijola ana kotoma anyo kodo bonde buntole minister jelle bina banko miyalon ko ite fangola infrastructure ma dondino ye député di ko ka wolu sanne ka moto di la moto miyalon ko abitala for 3.5 million or 2.5 million each yamira o banko mansakunda pareta do ko wala le ali ngi gindi adamu mo wolet ala baraka bake
a barka bake bos bange tentunge jay bake nkaranta bake annum fanan njikita nyinna ko alfalu men yalon ko wolle be fanna fulo bela i fanan be karanna bake andum njikita ko banko dinu fanan i karanta bake ning wala dala me yalon ko aya landi anin landi nyala me yalon ko abe senaring anin abe lankina marin bake ngamera nin kallamoy wala dalu nyinna surtout men yalon ko kono eke abe banko na fala annu surtout men be place do abole na fala katambi men mantara place do barra jande be lano ela
abaraka bake farera ka tentu ka jaydro ngalon sayga lanol yele ka ba wato tata bake mo français la contribution o inshallah
mbal danna men na dukare nimbe kumandiro kala nendiro anin kuma kanjaw semfang jamfandi wolula sinan kumandilalta 6399130 6399130 9388430 mbadad la suwo kono assalamu alaikum badi
wa alaikum salam munir baji al konto
baji baseni bismillah
tegiya mo jam bandira bake ba wato tatan ko ministre ya mera mol mo tolele Gambia kol manke tole sila ate ko ima ni manke wafirta manke kelati sila munemu ay ko mamani ka kawo to wallahi kam don moy surwa kawo to walla kan ko te memman ke tuba kawo to munemu tila ben keta wala keta membe je to wala nyinta ken nan tasila ate na fole no anyanta sila le auditor alla do ko fele loyal fananda do ko fele pitol fananda do ko fele president mo butu nyin kumo be fanan nyaatele mala adama baro nyin kumo be nyaatele mala alla tammo ladulal wafilal nyimmu walati to naaje wala nyama make taylal
okay
because okay na ko tata fo assista sanji mo ni lo banta nyin mo fi sato ji ibaje la ko be aben itol be la fi men no be continuer la mune yakinna na manke don torota manke tela no silang itolula ni o be tarla je nyaadi ni bakata mo Gambia ni ndi soto mune yakinne tol be do kula ko tamul kala nan ke nan Gambia di mol beta ko ala fo député wala en tol mun na salon laftala le mon pare ko tenke pour ka ko ten dundi ji
ibe moyla
na salon laftala anda man de salon da mala forol e ko to ni hakilo to Gambia ta mo fengo fenti hakilo to ya jamme kam men fon ko wala mun nyen mo ras no la way ko ni be kilimbal yala Gambia bari lum kilim de be kiti ni la janne wala men be kella be kelale
abaraka baka baji basen nga tentu nga jay nga do fanan jibe banda assalamu alaikum
wa alaikum salam adama
todi mani kan kuma ni minto
bakar njaay spain e konto nyaali konto
e bismillah
le programme la mo kan men kata sidu ke dati ani Ibrahima Silla sabu men na comme pamure Ibrahima Silla ni sidu ke da adama mu 609 lati sidu ke dan Gambia non te la putenke instead mun ta fon ko because pamuri en hakkol bulande mena wala nyinti ko ni sidu ke da non député bo da même fo boje to la ko to ani bay même fo ta tan ko da wol banga man kliya sidu ke da kilo ko ne Senegal tema ay tan ko men ke je o mun to la interest la comme fengol men ka tangata so ni sidu ke da murana bi ako saloni e ma wa fi mal wa sinan tol tan na la Gambia no nanta ye hakilo to baba ke banko kada nyamen aman koy chance le try kan e benyin salo mutale ba luwas la nyame ba wa fila nyame ni boto to river Gambia bina la ban nam bulwol na boto to bitu nakapol e bina wal be ta lam bulu siram bangin dan dawal ni joson kabol nyawal so do nyaw mo ko to biala nyang hakilo to baba ke aram barol man sakunda kada nyame ale ala may bayri na banko la fengol ne ke nyaatli ngolle katti wala muy to latine rawot bala fa warra ne ku ya warra Ibrahima Silla ni sidu keda no Gambia no nana de lala wala on 609 na dia fem fonten te lala ale alo
abaraka bake ngana so kono fanan ko dengue assalamu alaikum
wa alaikum salam adama
to di mani kan kuma ne min do
lamin esjata
o si bismillah
alla programme kuma da baka bada ni ku ya wata baka na barafa wala sinan ko dipitelu kany moto ko bulaje kany moto ko bulaje bala fasto ile bota sore bele carte dila LPP dipité o UDP o momo dipité di house o kono illa wala gambe do la mo bolela yindi binna wotande 3 million moto moto talulu ni sen neo calculate mathematics 3 million times 50 no it's painful because minimum you problem at the same time for the United Democratic Party the executive them come out. This is a very serious issue you can't just eat in video bulala like dadika from my recycle so min kotota tinyata ikita all sama masu ya recycle ka kutamat alafu kana mulne ne fulana an kan kan ma fahamu le ikana ne ban karana bi be daring loyal be daring ban ko be dunkan dinko kono because of money mo danta rek yes because European Union America and the like dono countries ye bulo lole ko do min dunda ja siatale billion le dunda ja bulo do ajonya wol ko mira bari wol ka dun lingin kundo wo man tara tama kan yin bankun kan brigama bi sama kada ne sare da halaw jibe tika bala fa multani na molni motolu jiyo be sarla ko to dinka mansin everything is poor tika ta salo bi fulane bi tikiri ala ya tayla ika $100 million ta neo falling gambe ko do how many billion yes because project le de bulu and sharing Islamic conference la project bi jamu banno oda project bi je berol la ya la bon Ibrahima Silla ko abero ko fadin jene tep ama sambano problem o kedi ko ngodonga ta ko no ko di dambo ta nana jibe bo fana pusu pasara la nyami banko baji alhalo mi kono mani boto tulo jabo everything fenne dan de manja bi ko kulari atol mi katefe adama boroe birika man kolo alba sate ba kono sate kono ba jamal nyaaya jele sama kono alinga hinan na nyoe no nyobulo muta nan dewul la somo de dadu nin ko do min ga continue ba be pusu pasara ado tipikelo yudi tipikelo billah wala nyimmoto niyata na yonfoke ko do min be dunna je wo ko do le kumayata because yule problema je man dia muno den biridu le koda bebe daring abal fa warta le sanor monta tamakan kan bun kendo monta tamakan ni banko kan billah wala adama ale be de mabari mon le mo bo na député na problème abaraka ni problème be na di sidi ko amante donc le député ko sidi ka même fa abdullah ko le bi akuya ni ko di sipa na be sayna
akamta de jolonta je la bari science da banta assalamu alaikum
alaikum salam adama fadera ke ba sabal sinke finnan ne konton alu fal konton apa modu bojan konton kal tentu kal jay bi programme fanan
bismillah
adama nkonte malum fo Gambian ko lu sai nga nyomu tale banko ni membe palaso to camera ko to left siata dole to waran itolu ye ala itol so hakili le la me alon ko wonin tol tamantara lebul killing itol left siata tol ti ko beto atu ndi mon te kumo men fota ja ma ko men ko mata minister of finance no ma wala luwa tinya fela kede alta julole ta mansakunda to yala banko dingol to yala ko kata julota ka julota me alon ko Gambia duwala sarato mafo ali finti nambam nana je nyuni nim bori bayena ikag angale kawla kam lo jilta kata ka fo be fiala naka ko men ni ko moy itata dom torol le ko hanide ndol man ta dom torola de itata furol itata le ngako le fu bari man don torke niwo maria folen kai ko ha mbe fula bari ni fenko sai to nata men fanko to yo de ya yalon furoni don toro wolbe kumol do bay bari to nata to me la role ke yenna banko la asset le fango to me la to man don toro ke de to men ka wala de jaro sta fango to kam men fo ko men to do to me sai to men ka wala sita do ka million to la salo ya to me la wala nyinti ko be fula ni na bari na fenko fela de muta nimme jo yata ka ki nimmi salo mo wonde tay ni koy angale kaw man to fene man ka kaw moy net man ka kaw to wala nyinti itane don toro haninte man ta don toro la nga furo leke wo furo ko na yare te to me la role ke atolier to me la role ke wala ka ko tay ne ko pa ya ko jamen man surwal fan ka fa ne nyaadi le fan tay ne ko kana molu ke do foti ni be ka kankili wala ko ni be tata karam mon kili wala to mira nya kili wala be sa mira ngole al kana mol fa angale ba kam fola jang ka fo woli ko nta mem fo aliye wala ke aliye men ke im fa wala de jaro sa hani ngal pu men na ko aliye don torole ke banko to yala ali ma fo moli sa to na ta to mela ro ke banko la so mal tata to mela banko to yala aliya ke ni nya ma mer ñu fongo bandi yalla be mblay be la interest le be nyinto bawo ni tan jike ike fongo men di mola o be o soto no la ngam le tatu le fongo bulu fongo e nyini je mu ne ati le ta fongo tem kala e fongo nyini jaay muru kan ja ni bita ila interest e ka foko ni be interest talala lu ñu male ni be ko e be la ko do sur la foto ni be interest talala woto ni ko na katale ya bale be je katu ye mo don to wudi kemela for instance e ka foko par na be njola na bu kan interest talala interest la bije na men ka ka julo le bela ay julo ba njola le ba fo na be interest la ba iya la julo ba njola le ni to la mira nya kono e fe abe sitirin to ta be firindin net to hakilo mo man tara sirin akam adu moto tuluna Gambian kol ko ali nga nyim boka to kan abaraka
nga atentu nga jay nga murna so kono fanan ko tenke assalamu alaikum badin
wa alaikum salam ni tafonera
todima ani kan kuma ni minto
ba Osman Union
e bismillah
London na wala UDP number 3 to yes
yo bismillah
adama
naam
adama ndara ko mo ko diale ni ko nyaade
kumo nyanda dialal
yo nyaade mo ko o nya ko wado no sida nda UDP number 3
okay
mboka mo nya ko jibe de
okay
Mengbe Kering ko la fo go na broda adama baro anana masakunda nsolo ko ya tije ya je ngofo bankola na fa halise tije adama bien 2017 ndaji amuka molko ko na dia mo siara ko ndaji di number 3 ndaka ngendiamo
okay
na kumoni yangu ni hakilola ikaje ko non fo wala kesodi
okay
ni ndalo mama mo la fa dira ni aji be ko me mo len bije bukata ko ye ko mon ye ci ni kiti adama
naam
banko mo ko sama no wal ka samba par men bije do banko mo binin ko do ko ina da mo be dani ala kan kila kan banko mo ngado wala fa kar na banko aba din ko ko na da masare no do wala mu de
okay abaraka bake nga doji be banta assalamu alaikum
hello mister Alaikum salam Mr. Ferreira.
Todima ani kanko mane minto.
Nke kumane Barcelona Lamin.
Gago bismillah.
Nkala baraka baka nkala analyze nyinka dia baka le ni jumala matodo fa.
Badara fambatio.
Badara fambatio yo. Wallahi nkala enjoy baka narabi ya analyze nyinka dia baka.
Tonya.
Definitely nkala doko betara baka. Comme daga ngalon comme gambiano lo dibitelu comme kodola kasaro. Okay, mol nyanto fana miralo comme pabe men foka yalon comme ni kodota. Okay, ko ibadundi la kulle kunna. Okay, nyan ibadundi la kumen kunna. Nyanto fana fola molien comme moliol fanal to jube. Okay, na tuni ibadundi la agriculture kunna tuno o jagal pacharel ten o ku kotenglu. Okay, mol la jiboti la je ka ko yesu ko do nyimbe teriala pour kamuruna. Okay, bari ni ko waka la route project le pour ka silo dadala. Okay, so muto be route taxi jalle jono la sanko la pour ka ko do nyiri ko ba. Okay, and secondly for comme be silo nyini fanal men dadala. Sila tije me yalan ka ko comme contract nyini ba garantie no la over 25 years or 20 years. So ibaja comme hani ko do nyini tafana ye dunde silo nyini kunna in 5 years time maybe askeno sila dol fan to sila comme ni mangi silo nyini bondi. Okay, so ibaja la silo nyini fanal dada nyinti na nafa sotola because ite mela and then man sakundala be na bulo la kun ko taka pour kana silo nyini ta ke maintenance o ye silo dada mo mol menye wole committee nasila sotola ko take so ibaja la ko do nyimbe kasara le ar kasara le.
Okay.
Yo comme ñing godi sifa ni ba tala dulado pour ita ka fenn soto je wote fana nyanta dundi le dulado dame yalon ko comme banku ding si do ko soto je and then muna fana ñin si taria pour ka recobano so ba je la comme ñin do bitaka so azel fana la ko ñing go fana bitaka bari ni adundi si la do ko kunna kasarol di nak.
Okay.
Ya
abaraka bak
be
kilinta la banta ngana kilinta suokono nga banta la skola jibe jang. Assalamu alaikum badi. E kamel la moya tala wala jam fala todi mani kan kuma ne bin dole.
Mariama Cham lo Spain aliu fadera ngal be konto.
E bismillah Cham.
Mbal tentula ba ke kal jay nyim problème o nyimbe be kene Gambia kono tenti. Gambia be positionnement bitilola Gambia be kumbo kanne Gambia banku dingol fana be kumbo kanne inde la famille fola don pa modu bo jannene nyi fola once ami tale no ngame last year lamu ako Gambia na meka e be Gambia fonle wafila ndo wato la bitilola tente Gambia be wafukan so mbadingam na nyato kolbe please
e kamel la ma tala wala jam fala.
Alon jam fatale le fadera.
Okay.
Ngal kontom ba ke kal tento kal jay Gambia banko la kola Gambia banko muslanda alt bitilola na minister lo fanan gudiya munde ba ke because Gambia bitilola mo be al Mengbe Kering mo ta sinola ka banko nyin ka dulal wafi la tari amambete ya mbe damento bitilola dal mbe bulu jaw bale economy yalon ka be jaw yarin bake so na nyaton ko ya kata bake president yalon ko Gambia banko mbele tamo Gambia masad kilin jamanu bukatu ibe talale doy nana ye mako alani kila kan dukare please ye banko ni ya bulaka dulalu tayle ro te don andu hande don halifa wolta ni ka tayle ro ke do ni ne buke fon tarandino.
Okay.
So ka Gambia takota ka tafengol dulalu wafi e poro wafita airport woltuta jesela so ngai dani lillahi wa rasuli anu Gambia banko mote mako la Gambia bonni tol Gambia dingol fonye ta Gambia bola mbe wala fo la Gambia dingo be mbe nga wuli mbe nga tesidi ka akata ba ke Gambia ay bo tay lokono
abaraka ba
ngal tentu ba ala baraka
ngata suokono la skola ta wato banda tak. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Todima ani kan kuma ni minto.
Boya sa mbika on
E bismillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Mbeja alhamdulillah.
Ndio min falati siala ba
wato ban telefon
okay minister ala fo ko adama dingo kumu bondi da ko ya ndu be siri me iba fo kan nyami ka mu ile direct ni ila diamo idami Gambia mbele denda mu mu ife mo fenke ma ke mu ya ke fa mo be o fo mo ya
okay
and secondly kono mbaldani ba traffic ka shandi do mun ni pour mo na ñu faham Gambia traffic system wala
okay
ala baraka ba
abarka bake nga tentu nga jay borom jasi nga kumandalal moy
fadara baraka ka kumandir lal ning lamoy lal ning juber lal be tentu ke jay ñine ka banko samba banko dingol false pare ka kacha kacha kono wole ka kol bonde woto ngal tentu kal jay fo watido ala baraka bake
barka bake kacha wala ka larang da ko do fion bondi woto nga kacha nin kacha do be ñomoy la nga ñomoy dron banko be diala bita ñato bari maral kawna be banko la bo be kuku kala banko kan dron se karo be ke yade maral kawna bar alman tankala kata nin kadato alman tankala bono ni number wala alma suto to diala ala baraka fo watido
Yona Forex Bureau. Badi mori Yona Forex Bureau mi yalon ko felaliye seda kunda bambo walla mu dulati dami yalon ko kodi kiyo anin kodi falingo nyinu mu nyonta ondet. Yona Forex Bureau iturbaliye bambole ando feleye kunda baso dale lat bakote mi yalon ko wolam Purple House ti. Mbadi mori atol mi yalon ko albe banko e bantala. Nan lafta kodo kila nyinkamala alla mole ay tariya andaliye minki ye wosoto tariya nyama alfero ke aliyakini Yona Forex Bureau la altul mini yalon ko fanal be Gambia na lafta kodol de fali da kabri euro lomba fo pound lomba wala fo dollar ni nyin kodi dolu Yona Forex lon dolate mini yalon ko e kadadi madi mi yalon ko ase kontan ando ni nyin kodi dolu fanam be bulu e lafta ke fali ni dala sola wala badi won kamune bato al nga ferol ke nganna kodol kini Yona Forex Bureau la anin nganna falindirol keni Yona Forex Bureau la dami yalon ko mbe bane hoda male sotola wakamara na lafta kuma ko sotola nyinol beto ali kumandi da telefono to 9000392683215173389998055526 badi ngol Yona Forex Bureau wolle nata kan dahandi kodi kiyola anin kodi fali wala fannala walla Yona Forex Bureau ala baraka jarama
be ngalo le nyin jamal laba motolu ida koleyata bakele andun ila kol mandiya nyine ya sabu niye moto sanda kole ngola inyanta fita kendo le sotola o dalilo le ya sabu ATC garage inatale Gambia banko kan e bale dabin wala mu farato bojan kundate nyin ATC garage e turmu garas le me yalon ko e kamuntala ko moto la lotanolo e ka motolu tale ke kisi ke la sasalu long andi ye joran kendo le sotane software min yalon ko wolle ka woke ka fa be diagnostic e to la joran be ka bonan jamanile ande manna da wala isela AC refiliye nyin kamala ni dunda moto kono moto be setara sumoyare ande kela do kol be ken minna wala mo jaman la joran wolti nin alla motolu cabolu balanta sakonye motolu mini yalon ko wala jama laba motolu ti e ka wo fanan cabolu bypass ale no le ka fami ki immobilizer andum fanan e ka cabolu programme ale fanan e ka motola masingo bele mutaka ko ka be fita e sedea se murum fanan yalla masingo lu dokuale ise moto chika fo santo ya lande benten kanka koto jibe problemo be dawda isa belo ni atara fana ila tulo sulata falingolla etoloka tulo be keje wonin quality le katanyola bayrin ila tulo fana be kabonan jamade ATC garage etoli ila kliano le nyasoto ke kumayande katambito lu famala ande kamuri kadoku kendoke me yalon ko nyondangol long wonin spare parts ol men yalon ko e mang nyonsoto ando nila moto panta Gambia dawoda moto be bulle be yalon ko ise nyafu ye city ye chika ye sambale nan fo gara soto ye doku ando tulu kendo lebe bulu tulo men yalon ko ni ya kila masin kono akadia masin fanga na lafta kuma koyo moyle bulo ali kumandi
755-9901
or
347-9716
or
+49-157-338-88502
wala ATC Garas mbale farato bojang kundale ATC Garas nyinulle nata kanda handi na motolo.
Jar Oil is Gambia's leading dealer when it comes to fuel and has made it a duty to satisfy our customers at all costs. Vehicle owners and drivers need not to worry about getting quality and affordable fuel anymore. That is the reason we have our branches spread all over the country for easy access. For good and clean fuel, the only place to go is Jar Oil. Your need for good and durable petrol, gasoline and kerosene has been covered by Jar Oil, so you need not to worry. Walk to any of our branches and get served to satisfaction. With Jar Oil, your satisfaction is our priority. That is why we have branches at your doorstep to make accessibility easy for you. With our professional and friendly staff, we can assure you satisfaction. To get the best fuel for your engines, the only place to go is Jar Oil. With Jar Oil, it's all enjoyment. That is why we are offering you low charges at our stations on the Coastal Road in Banjul. For more information, you can call 770-8080, 322-9070, 714-7273, or 387-1321. Jar Oil, the pride of the nation.
a mbadingolu ko badala trading mi yalon ko abale gunjur marché kono wala nata kalu da hande motorcycle la fannala bayri inside moto da koliyata adu motorcycle lu itolle nata jamano kono nyin kammala kana tamo sone ande nye kabojang katajang wala asabu ko badala trading ye nyim motorcycle second hand sambale nan kabonan China ni ye sang akake fele koy motorcycle kutole sang idali be diari wala nyama wala momo yalon ko lafta nyim motorcycle la dron e se fero ke ye futa gunjur ko la marché ba famote ka fami ye gunjur central market dami yalon ko e kayelele tili wotili talanse na tambita minute tansaba somondala kata fo tala woro wula rola holla fita kilinne sanna walla jama alingi kuman 7454464 walla 3921000 ko badala trading inatale kan dahandi motorcycle la fannala walla alingam borino ngatantalo cikaji. Holiday lalle fonyon lalo bata banta bayrin T&B seaside residence nyinun le nata kadinkira kendo di alla damine alon ko nal nata fonyon de ngola asetara no jele na nyembungol dung ibe nakrim badale badam bale dami wolon burusu bi face 1 minute fula tamo dorong ise futa silabaka andum bitikol manjam fanna restaurant ol fanam bebe mbala jele aning supermarket ol man na da wala murundanga moto surale je 4x4 Mitsubishi mi alon ko nibe siring kordanyin kono ase samba ke inati bare badi ngolo nyinti NBC side residence na jamani labam bungol le sudale mini alon ko ni dunte kono doron bane ho doron andun na jonkongol be senior ne ibe wararing ko nyin jaman laban jonkongol kake nyami ni nata holiday la Gambia ilafta kela holiday le enjoy inila dimbaya lomba wala foy kunkele na lomba feroke iye kumandi 700-8081 wala 921-2207 wala hand sign dorong alse kumandi WhatsApp +33659433820 T&B seaside residence tonya residential siata Gambia le kordado mine yalon ko fonyondin dolal long bari nyin korda abe mu bane hote ka fo mi di Gambian flavors wala al ngambore no je T&B seaside residence.
Butongo mbadi ngol mbemo be salamola ato na kontongola mba fula mole ko tonya fo tumo sita muna ko bono mu batiolti bari nyakulu malo kalero kono mu ba kunkolo fangoleti kuno dampa na singo me kuno na fa kuno yo lonne butongo mba fola anyanta fola nyame butongo Mengbe Kering mba fola wala nyama Mengbe Kering mafuna wuli nyama muna Mengbe Kering yo masatala wuli nyama muna Mengbe Kering mafuna wuli nyama muna Mengbe Kering yo masatala wuli nyama afo pamodu muna sata afo dunia bebe lamel afo pamodu muna sata afo dunia bebe lamel Mengbe Kering mafuna wuli nyama muna Mengbe Kering masatala wuli nyama muna Mengbe Kering yo mafuna wuli nyama muna Mengbe Kering ye masatala wuli nyama afo pamodu muna sata afo dunia bebe lamel afo pamodu muna sata afo dunia bebe lamel Sonya kumodunda dumbuka munkari bande yataye muno kafinyo yataye Sonya kumodunda dumbuka